And I
like
said,
this.
Instead of waiting on a good day, waiting around through ups and downs, waiting on something to happen, I just said, we're gonna have a good day, and all my homies gonna ride today. That's right. And all these mommies look fly today, and all we wanna do is get by today. Hey, we're gonna have a good day, and ain't nobody gotta cry today, cause ain't nobody gonna die today. You can save that drama for another day. Hey, we're gonna have a good day.
Hairline fresh, new cologne on, feeling so good, change the colors to my phone. Orange Kool-Aid, go good with Patron. Oh no, hell no, boy. Still my ringtone, free car wash. Had to clean up the Dodge. Give back when I can, just playing my part. Church folks had a fish fry, mustard, hot sauce, light bread.
Sorry, hold on.
If you work in a team, you should be using Monday.com. It's a platform to manage any team and any workflow. Marketing, sales pipelines.
Party Mix 2021. Brr, 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 brr.
Okay. I had to finish sending a text message.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure you were ready.
Raiden's excited. I like that. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So I wanted to, I know some more people are logging on. I So I was going to give Michelle like half the meeting because last week she had all these items and I never let her get to them. So, and then she texted me, she has a meeting with, it's like something to do with like planning. It's not the planning committee, but anyway, it was some kind of a county thing and they could only do it this morning. So I said, okay, well, tell me what you want me to cover. I know most of it she wants to cover with you guys. So I'll cover one of the items that she wanted. And then I do have a few other things that I want to make sure that we cover but I want everybody to be here because I want to make sure everybody knows and has these dates and times. Okay. So I'll just talk about the first thing that Michelle wanted to cover, or she was going to cover today, is a reminder. So who can tell me, those of you who probably if you're a newer agent, you're more likely to remember this than a seasoned agent, since it's been a while since you've been in pre-licensing class. But let's see, should we give away a Starbucks gift card for if somebody knows this that doesn't teach it? And don't Google it and see if we can get somebody that remembers it. So what is the Statute of Frauds? What does the Statute of Frauds refer to? Who can put that in the chat box or answer the question? And I'll give you a gift card. I don't know what we normally do. Is it like 10 bucks? Ooh, everything in writing. Yes. Tom is the winner. Tom is the winner. So that is correct. Congratulations, Tom. So somebody needs to help me make sure that I get Tom a Starbucks gift card, Latasha, or if Cheryl's on, I need to make sure we do that. So, oh, no need. You're so sweet, Tom. Okay, well, we'll go to Starbucks together. So statute of frauds, yes, is relates to the law regarding having everything in writing. So give me some examples in our business of what we'll start off easy and say, okay, in our business, what does that refer to? What do we typically have? What are the most common things that we would have in writing? It's not this one's not a trick question. Purchase contract. Yep. Purchase contract. What else? Changes. So yes, amendments. Yep, or addenda. And by the way, here's a great little tip for you, because people interchange addenda or addendum or addendums, they say, and then they also say amendments. So what is the difference between, this is just a little trivia for you to start with, since Michelle I'm waiting for everybody else to get on. And since Michelle's not on, what's the difference between an addendum and an amendment? What's the difference between an
addendum is when you're adding on, and amendment is when you're changing the contract.
Okay. Yes, that is true. And so Dawn, what were you going to say? We'll gather the information.
Same thing.
Okay. Adding on and changing. So when would you use an addendum form versus an amendment? When would you refer to something as an addendum? So give me an example when you talk about adding on versus changing.
A buyer's contingency would be an addendum because you're adding that to the contract. An amendment is anything that's changing any of the clauses inside the contract, or after you're already in contract. If you had a buyer's contingency and you're changing that buyer's contingency, an amendment would change that addendum.
Got it. Great. Yes, that is correct. So you use addenda, which is the plural of addendum, not addendums, although I guess you could say that, maybe that's a word too. When you have a contract or something that you're creating, any kind of a document, and you have additional documents that you're submitting at the same time, right? It goes with the package, kind of like exhibits. Addenda would go with that original agreement, right? Addendum number 1, addendum number 2. Once that agreement is in force and in action, anything that gets changed thereafter that affects anything in that original agreement becomes an amendment, okay? So just a little side note. So the reason I bring this up is because there are some times that we don't think about having written agreements, and we want to have a written agreement. And if you're ever questioning whether there should be a written agreement or not, there should be. So one example would be, let's say as agents, do you ever work with another agent on a transaction? Do you guys ever work together on transactions? What would be an example of working with another agent on a transaction?
Co-listing.
Great, Aisha, a co-listing. Yes, right? A co-listing or a co-buy side, or you're going out of town and you need somebody to take over your file, or you want to bring somebody on as a showing agent to go show the property for you, and maybe they're not officially going to be on your team. So how do you create an agreement with somebody like in that case? What would that look like? What would you want to do in that case? So you're going out of town and you want somebody to help you with your client or the file, or to run around and show the property for you, or you bring somebody on the deal with you. What do you need to do? What would you want? What would you want to have happen? Yeah. So Sam is saying make a contract, right? So if you were helping somebody, you would want to get the terms of the partnership in writing, right? So does it have to be an official form? Does it have to be, do we have a form for that? I actually think, I know at one point in the internet, we had created something. This was more for if you were doing something with somebody outside of our brokerage, like once in a while, you might go on a listing appointment and it's between you and another agent with another brokerage where the client has a relationship, and really they want, the only way to really secure that you're going to get this thing is to maybe partner with the other agent, right, and do a co-listing. So we did used to have a form, I don't know if it's still on the internet, where if you do a co-listing with somebody in outside brokerage, and it gives you a guide in terms of what are the things that you need to cover. It can just be an email, right, an email with an acknowledgement. We just need a record of what that is. And also, just so you guys don't run into a problem down the road, because where we see problems down the road, just in general, we know with our deals, is when, somebody says something and then they don't put that in writing. So Teresa's saying, let your broker know. Emily's saying, write an agreement. Okay. So that's it. I just want to remind you guys.
Lisa, yes,
Marian.
it is. Hi, yes, it is on the internet. It's called a co-list agreement. It's 4 pages of item by item. It's awesome.
Thank you, Marian. So you can reference that. So even if Marian, are they using that for internal co-listings too? Are we using that internally and outside?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So great. Thank you for that. So yeah, go take a look at it anyway, so that if you do run into that situation, you remember and know what are the things that for you to remember to cover, like who's going to do what is the person, what are you going to share? What are you going to get paid? So just a reminder, Emily asks, what are the limits on assisting other brokers? Now, do you mean outside brokers if you were going to do a co-listing or a co-buy with them? Or do you mean like helping them if they take a listing and they want you to do something on it? What's the question?
Honestly, I really mean assisting my girlfriend if she has to run to the mainland to help her mother. So she's a real estate broker. And I was just wondering if, like in the past, she's called me and asked me to run over and take some photos of documents for her that she left at her house. And then in real estate school, it looked like you cannot help another broker without violating your stuff. And I just want to know what my limits and restrictions are.
So depending on the situation, I would say talk to your broker about it, so you guys can determine if you need to have anything specifically in writing if you're doing that. I mean, the big issue, and Michelle's not on, so she can't speak to it, but the big issues that we would look at, and whoever your broker is could talk to you about it and then explain the situation to Michelle and see what's allowable or not. Liability is certainly a big issue or a question when we're dealing with another person from another company. And if there is, now it sounds like you're talking about helping your friend who's a broker, they're a broker themselves and there isn't another client involved. So that level of liability may go down. However, it's something I would say explain the situation to your broker, and then Michelle might have to get involved in terms of what is allowable or what she would allow or not, because part of that could be at the discretion of the brokerage of what they let you do, but they will tell you what you need to have in writing to assure that it takes liability off of us, basically. I mean, in general, like that would be something I would hope and trust that you could potentially help them with. We just need to make sure that, you know, the brokers are okay with that, and that if we need anything in writing, we have it. I don't know if that helps, but I don't want to give you a definitive answer because it's not my call. How about setting open houses for other brokers listings? So, you know, I don't know if the coaches address this. I'm going to let them. I have my own ideas and thoughts and opinions about doing other opens for other brokers and brokerages. I certainly would prefer personally that you have the opportunity within the company and keep it, because we have a lot of listings, like the most probably. And now I realize that once in a while there may be a situation where it's in your farm, like there is no listing that we have in your farm, or your neighbor's property comes up and you might want to maximize the exposure in that neighborhood in your farm. So I'm going to let a coach, so does a coach or a broker want to talk about when somebody asks about working an open with another company? What do you guys do?
Marion, you want me to take it? Okay, so we've actually had this conversation with Michelle recently. It's been a big discussion. Michelle's personal preference to us is that we do not hold open houses for other agencies. There's still some discussions about it. She's committed to the leadership, helping agents find open houses if they want them or need them. So reach out to your coach if you have a time that you want to hold an open house, and we'll help within the company to reach out and ask people. That's what I'm aware of at this point.
Okay.
Marion, feel free to chime in if you've got something else.
Yeah, the only other thing I would say is if it's a small agency, you know, don't be calling somebody a Caldwell Banker. You know, that doesn't work, right? They've got their own agents. So, but if you're friends with somebody in another agency and there's a relationship and it makes sense, we're going to be much more inclined to say yes to that, right? So, yeah.
So Latasha, can you, I can't control the mute. Can you mute Emily real quick? Just, thank you. Sorry. So, thank you, Marion. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, because remember, yeah, it just gets tricky when it's, you know, when it's your competition, and if they're not as collaborative, you just have to be aware and careful. However, you know, we don't want you to not have opportunity. The point is, I think there is a lot of opportunity that we have. We do actually have a lot of agents that have opens that go unsat within our company. So we don't want that. We would rather see you guys working the opens that we have, which we have a lot of, you know, good opportunities for those. And if you're not aware what they are, talk to your, you know, so like Nicole said, if you're not in coaching, talk to your broker. We are also actually, I just discussed this with Colette last week, is two things we're working on. They're doing it in Honolulu and we're going to be doing it in our office. Is we're going to be creating a hot sheet of our own within the brokerage internally that you guys will be able to access, which is going to serve two purposes. One is to know of things that are coming up. So when you sign a listing agreement and you're within those, say it's within the 48 hours before it goes into the MLS, you could put it up on our hot sheet so that everybody knows what's coming up, to give you an opportunity to have that conversation with the agent and, you know, get your potential buyer in there. That's one thing that we're doing, we're setting up. And then the other is the open house opportunities, because we don't have a central location. And I actually, this was my invention I came up with a few years ago, that if I had the time to do, I would invent it, which is an open house platform for brokerages to use internally, where people can just sign up and post their open houses. It's crazy it doesn't exist. So anybody who's like a software person, if you're on this call and in the company, and maybe you want to help us to develop that, literally for now, it's probably just going to be a shared Google Drive sheet for the sake of simplicity and just getting the information out to you.
Lisa, could I
Andy?
jump in from the Big
Yes.
Island? We literally on the west side have 8 available listings that none of them can be sat.
Yep.
And so we did run into this, and I had a conversation with a agent who has a single person agency over here, and she would love the help. She also was a former Keller Williams agent. I would like to have her join us. And so I opened it up to a few of the people in my coaching group who were just open.
Sure, totally. And remember, thank you, Andy. Yeah, a lot of times we have areas that they don't work, they're not doing opens, or the seller doesn't want that, or you don't have the opportunity to do that, or there's signage restrictions. So that does happen, or there's COVID related things that people don't want. The other thing is I want to encourage you guys, opens, remember, even though they are one piece of the puzzle and can give you some experience if people are coming in. Remember though, if you are doing an open, to maximize it and use our model to drive traffic, because otherwise it could, potentially be a waste. I mean, you could still work it as your office, which is a benefit. Just make sure that you're doing things that are proactive, that turn that open house into something that's proactive for you, or that whatever you're doing is proactive, because the conversion rates on opens, you guys, is not what it used to be. I mean, 20 years ago when you were in this business and you're doing open houses, you would get a lot of traffic. People weren't finding the information that they can online now. What we focus on is for you to get that buyer rep agreement signed before that person sets foot on the island. And a lot of people are doing that. So you're finding more and more people coming in that already have representation, or less traffic in general. There is some, and there are some conversions happening for sure. And there are some that are great stories. I would just say, make sure that you're working with your coach or your broker to be proactive. And when you are working in open, that you're sending out the invitations, that you're doing a Facebook ad, that you're making calls and circle prospecting, because that'll drive traffic and you'll pick up other sellers and buyers that way. Okay. Monthly realtor caravans. Yes. So, who are you working with? I would say, Emily, you're in coaching, right? Because you can get that schedule from your coach.
She's in Kona, but she's not licensed yet.
Oh, you're not licensed yet. Okay. Yes. The answer is yes. And you will get that schedule. Okay, perfect.
Real quick, Lisa, Can I just chime in just so that everyone knows, because I know we have some listing agents on here. I just want you guys to be aware that with the new agents, every one of them is required to watch Lee Potts Open House Ignite class, even if they haven't been through the Ignite course yet, so that they know what to do with open houses. So that's a really good preface if somebody wants to hold your open house, is just checking if they've watched Lee Potts class yet, because that's something we require in the program so that they know what they're doing. Just
thank you. Yeah, that is definitely part of training, and he is like definitely master of opens. So, and then Crystal, Kawhi, we can talk offline about that if you want, in terms of opens. So if you want to call me, we can talk more about that. I don't know what we have for listings or over there now. I know you and Steve are primarily working that market. Okay, a couple other things that I wanted to touch on are, we are doing 2 events that I want to make sure everybody is aware of and invited to. One is going to be next Thursday, the 11th, it's our West Side team meeting, which normally often only West Side agents attend. However, I would like to invite everybody to attend, because Brady Sondal, who is the Keller Williams Director of Luxury, now that's his new position. Some of you have met him before when he was actually here, and he was a top luxury agent in California. Closes like 120 million a year, and he's ultra luxury. And now he is the new Director of Luxury for Keller Williams International. And he's actually going to be in Hawaii, but he'll be on the Big Island. You guys are going to be doing an event with him on the Big Island on that's the 9th, right, Andy? You guys have a Big Island event on the 9th with Brady in person. So
it is. The entire team is not invited.
No. Okay. The luxury. So you guys, I'll let you guys work with that live thing, because I think you have restrictions, but everybody is invited to attend The 11th via Zoom, which is our West Side team meeting. It's in the calendar. It starts at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10:15 we usually go to. And Brady is a guest at that team meeting, and he's going to talk about I've been talking to a lot of you guys about, what is available to you, whether you qualify to be so there's 2 levels of luxury. Everybody in the company has access to some of the luxury marketing materials. So if you have a luxury listing, but you're not actually qualified because you haven't had the past sales to be in the division as a member, you can still access the luxury information and market your listing with it if it qualifies. So depending on what area you're in, those price points are different, but come, because Brady will talk about that and what they've been doing and what are, where those things are and how to find them and access them. And then he's also going to talk about the qualifications for the luxury division and what they're doing with those members and how you deal with membership. And he's going to do a Q&A. But now the membership is, luxury agents used to pay to be a member. And now my understanding is you actually don't pay. It's free if you qualify to be in the actual luxury group. We're also going to be doing monthly meetings starting in April with our luxury agents on the island. So anybody who's in luxury as far as a member, or they have luxury listings, or you want to learn how to be in luxury, you will be able to attend these monthly meetings where we're talking about what we're doing on island to help support our luxury portfolio and increase our market share. So definitely look out for that. Thank you, Latasha, for putting the link in the chat box for the team meeting. So make sure you come to that. And then the other thing is our awards. We're finally going to be doing our awards for the office from 2020. So we typically have to wait for all the regional awards to come out, which they come out in February around family reunion. We did the regional awards, and now we have all of the awards, and we're actually creating some fun, new, cool ones for the office as well. So just because you might not have been the highest agent in production last year doesn't mean you're not getting an award. So you're going to want to mark the date. And let me make sure I get this right. Please correct me if I get this wrong, because I know we passed around a couple of dates and we're going to be talking about it right after this meeting. I have us down for Wednesday, the 24th. So it's our normal, what we decided to do, because a lot of people attend this meeting. Even though awards would normally be in the evening, we're doing this virtually. So you'll have coffee or whatever. If you're at home, you can have a drink. You're an independent contractor. The 24th, we'll do in the morning that Wednesday huddle, which is normally from 8:30 to 9. We are going to extend that. So plan to be available from 8:30 a.m. to, what did we say, you guys, 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday, the 24th. And I believe Karen Prawl, our regional director, is going to join us on that. She's actually going to be physically in Hawaii that week as well. And I'm working on putting together some stuff with her while she's here. So did I get that right? Is that what we decided, you guys? Did I get that date and time right? The 24th from 8. I'm assuming I got that right. Okay. Fabulous. Okay. Any questions you guys have about any of that so far? Or any other comments from what we were talking about earlier? Okay, I'm looking at the chat box. Let's see, we talked about that. Oh, okay. So some of you, I know Stacy probably reached out and called you guys if you had a transaction coordinator. So some of you were working with, what we've been doing for the last couple of years is letting you guys decide who you want to work with as independent contractors, as transaction coordinators. And what's happened over the years is, varying things. Sometimes people get too full, and we've been working to develop additional resources for you guys on the transaction coordinator side. And I wanted to let you know, we do have transaction coordinators available for you. And the reason I mention that is because I know one of our transaction coordinators is that some of our agents have been working with is not going to be doing files anymore for you guys. So I wanted to make sure you knew, and I believe Stacy called everybody on the list yesterday that we knew that was in that situation so that we could reassign you to a new TC. But just company-wide, I wanted to let you guys know that just so you know, in case you're looking for a resource for a transaction coordinator. So Christy is if Latasha or somebody can put in the chat box Christy's contact information. So she runs, it's coordinators of real estate. She's in the Honolulu office, and that's where David, who's one of the transaction coordinators, is. I don't know where the other one that we're working with right now is located. We're also going to be hiring another transaction coordinator that's quote in-house for Maui, which of course the Big Island can utilize too, or Kauai, anybody can utilize. If they're in Hawaii, you're probably okay. I mean, even some of you guys have virtual TCs that are somewhere else, which is okay too. You can work with whoever you want. I just wanted to let you know, and this is part of our rollout for at the end of the month, the 31st, for the KW My Way program, is some of that is going to include or involve transaction coordination. So we want to make sure that you have that. If you need that as a resource, reach out to Christy. If somebody could put her contact information in the chat box, that would be great, so you guys have it. Or reach out to your broker or one of us in leadership, and we'll make sure that you're taken care of, okay? Because yesterday, I know a lot, there were some people that needed to find a new transaction coordinator as soon as possible. I think she's finishing out files that she has, but then we just want to make sure we always have resources for you guys. And the other transaction coordinators, we do have some other ones that you guys work with too. My understanding is they're all full, because I think we reached out to everybody, and it's a busy time right now, which is awesome. I mean, you guys broke records last month. Our office this is year 6 we're in, hit an all-time record. You guys, you hit an all-time record last month in units closed, sales volume, and I think GCI, but I actually haven't checked the full report yet, but I know units and sales volume, you guys killed it last month. So, and you have momentum going into this month. So congratulations. And that's really, really awesome. Yeah, we closed 108 files in January, which I think our previous record that you guys got was 105. And then our sales volume, okay, this was by far the highest. The sales volume you guys closed, because the price points are up, was 110 million just last month, which is a record of 25 million over, I think, our last highest month ever. So, man, I'm so happy and so excited for you guys. The business is out there. So if you're not tapping into that right now, make sure that you work on your strategies and meet with people in the leadership team. Okay. A couple of quotes. I'm going to see if anybody else has information. Okay, we have Christy's information is in the chat box. Thank you. Teresa is asking, question off topic. I'm sorry I missed it, but is there a central location that lists all the committees, groups available to join? Great question. So not yet, because there will be, though, shortly. We have a meeting. I have to, before I post the committee list and who the chairs are, we have our Agent Leadership Council meeting on March 18th. So March 18th, we have our Agent Leadership Council meeting. One of the things we do in that is we finalize the committees and who the chairs are. And then we will post that and we'll send them out to you. So if you want to be a part of the committee, the luxury thing will be part of that, but it's kind of its own separate committee, unless somebody on the ALC is going to chair it, which I don't think that's the case. But we can post a full list. It's a great idea, Teresa, of all the committees, who the chair and contact person is, and a little description of what each committee is. So if you guys want to get involved in those, because they will be meeting monthly starting in April once we have this meeting. Good question. Any other questions on that, you guys? Okay. Does anybody else have, before I kind of close out, a couple of things? Does any of my leadership, our leadership or executive team, have anything that they need to talk about or cover with the group? Okay. Okay. So, there was a great thing that I read about accountability and standards. And so I wanted to go through these points with you and then give you a positive thought for the day before we close out. So this was something I think one of our agents in Northern California posted, and I really liked it. He said, achievement is only possible through rigorous standards. Remove those standards and significant accomplishments will not arise. Now, this is personal self-accountability, or if you have accountability partner that you're working with. Achievement is only possible through rigorous standards. Remove those standards and significant accomplishments will not arise. Number 2, standards without consequences are merely suggestions. Standards without consequences are merely suggestions. So, you know, what does that mean? Again, if you are wanting to do something and you are not doing the activities to make that happen for yourself, what are the consequences of that? Because sometimes we just have to look at that and say, well, what is going to happen or what is not going to happen as a result? You know, if you want to earn X and because you want to pay off your house or you want to send somebody to college, or, you know, those are the things that you want to look at. And if you're okay with those, that's okay too. It's just really analyzing that. 3 was, if you want to change your life, you have to raise your standards. Again, whether that's yourself or you're working with somebody to help you. If you want to change your life, you have to raise your standards. 4 was, people tend to be resentful when you refuse to lower your standards or potentially join their misery. So remember, like, who you surround yourself with, that may be part of it too, that people might be resentful if you're doing something or you're achieving or you're raising your standards or you're changing the way you do something. Just be mindful of that too, and know that sometimes that people might resent you for that. And that's their issue, not yours. And then the last one was, do not make apologies for setting high standards. Do not make apologies for setting high standards and holding yourself to those to achieve what it is that you want. Positive thought for the day. The best thing about the future is that it comes one day at a time. So here's another thing that we forget, and this one spoke to me a lot, because sometimes we forget to slow down, and we forget to enjoy the journey, and we're focused on something, and we have to remember that it is the journey. And that was an Abraham Lincoln quote. The best thing about the future is that it comes one day at a time. So enjoy it, embrace it. Every day is important. Every day matters. Every day counts. Last thing, Nicole, you want to mention the Business Planning Foundations class? We can talk about that. And then if anybody else has a quote to share before we sign off, we'll do that.
Yeah, awesome. So that's actually a really, really cool thing to talk about after what you just talked about, because when you talk about accountability and you talk about planning and holding yourself accountable. So Business Planning Foundations are starting on the 11th. We'll be starting 15 minutes after Brady Sondal is done talking. So that'll be great, perfect timing. Those are going to be an hour-and-a-half classes. Normally we only open those up to the coaching program, but this time around we are going to open it up to some outside people. So if anybody's interested, please reach out to one of the coaches. We'll get you information on how you can get into that class. And it's basically all of your business planning. So you're going to discover a little bit about yourself. You're going to discover a little bit about why you're doing what you're doing. And then we'll lay out a plan to how to achieve it. So it's going to be 6 courses, hour-and-a-half each, with some prep forms beforehand. And you will come out of there with a great understanding and systems and models related to what Keller Williams has to offer. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Join us.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. And that's in the calendar too, you guys. Any other thoughts, quotes, or tell me something good? And let's end with something positive. Tell me something good, or a quote that you'd like to share. Who's got something?
Lisa, I have something.
Yes, Marcus.
We're doing script practice every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. On a Zoom call. So if anybody wants to join, you can reach out to me, or Nicole also has the information.
Awesome, Marcus. Thank you for doing that. That's great. I love that you're doing that. So that is something good. Script practice is good.
And it's
all right.
Fun.
Yes. Oh, good, Anne. Thank you. All right, you guys, we'll have a great rest of the week. And if I don't see you before, I'll see you on the team meeting on the 11th, where Brady will be our guest. Brady Sondal. Okay, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Take care. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.